Shalom, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David, reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who before losing their true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to get into the coming persecution of those that believe in the true Messiah, YAHAWASHI. But let's read this first. This is Luke 6:22. Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. All right? So this is talking about when that time comes, those that stand up for the truth and for the Messiah and his message for the gospel, right? That's who the Son of Man is, by the way, When it tells you here, it says, for the Son of Man's sake, right? That's talking about YAHAWASHI, the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So this is saying that in that time, the end time that is, which we are living through now, that people will persecute those who stand up for the truth. Now, we know that this doesn't apply to those people who are following that false Messiah, Jesus Christ, right? Which goes back to that man that lives in the 1400s, Cesare Borgia, and is linked to the false the false prophet church, the Vatican, right? We're talking about the true Messiah, the Messiah written in the Holy Bible, whose true name is YAHAWASHI. Well, when you understand who that is, you understand that his message isn't always the most polite, nor the most PC, right? And because of that, you're having these devils, in the government and also on the media, which is simply their puppet, their mouthpiece, starting to develop a narrative that is going to pretty much make you Negro, Latino, Native Indians, those that are woke, that is, and are Hebrew and are identifying yourselves as Hebrew Israelites, the enemy of America, or what the Bible refers to as Babylon the Great. Right? Let's go and read this post that I found on Instagram. This is today. It says, former CIA counterinsurgency officer urges U.S. government to use war tactics against domestic extremists like those who stormed the Capitol. Right? Now, those who stormed the Capitol, that was a ploy, right? They were set up. And they simply did it. They simply did it so that way they could then have an excuse to point the finger at so-called white supremacists, right? And get rid of those particular people, the patriots that these globalists see as a speed bump on the road to the new world order that they are currently creating, and eventually that the laws and the actions which they are implementing now, because of them, right, they are going to be able to then go after you, Hebrew Israelites, who are the true targets, right? Because ultimately, though you may not be the true targets to the FBI agents, the CIA agents, the police force, the judges, ultimately, the politicians at the very top, the world leaders, the people who understand what's truly going on in the world, that understand the true narrative of the Bible and understand that that's what the true narrative of the world is, they are, have you in their sights, man. They know that you are the true target, but they can't come out directly for you, right? This is why first we're going to see Esau go after Esau first, so that way when Esau starts coming after the prophets, he could just say, hey, these are also terrorists, don't look at us, we're not being racist, nothing's going on here, and that way the people will be none the wiser, all right? And this is why you ultimately had Vocab Malone and you have IUIC set up, because I want you to do, because if you have time, I want you to do a real quick test. I want you to go on a private or incognito web browser or a computer you've never used and go to YouTube, right? Don't be signed in, just a regular YouTube page. You could even do this at an Apple store. And I want you to type in Hebrew Israelite. The only pages you will see come up are Vocab Malone's, IUIC, and a bunch of other setup Christian videos, man. They're basically putting lies on the truth of the Hebrew Israelite movement, which is the true awakening of the Israelites of the Holy Bible, right? And that ultimately is just to show you, man, that what that whole asshole Vocab was here for, man. He's done with his job now. That's why he's out now. He's out and he's looking for his next paycheck, right? That's why he took off. You know, we may see him later on, but ultimately, man, his job is done. Just look at that YouTube search I told you about, and you'll see what's going on. You'll eventually see the reason IUIC came onto the scene, man, is because they are going to be the scapegoats and the reason why the government comes down on the so-called Black Hebrew Israelites. Same thing with ISUPK and all these other Israelite groups that have been set up. But like I said, let's go ahead and continue to read this article, and you'll start seeing how these devils are painting a picture of making those who speak out here in Babylon the Great as the terrorists, the next terrorism. It tells you here from NPR, it says the former director of the CIA's counterterrorism operations argues that counterinsurgency tactics like those used in Afghanistan and Iraq are needed to fight the extremists who stormed the Capitol, right? And this guy here actually, made a funny comment, right? Glenn Greenwald, and Glenn Greenwald, he's a political commenter, and he puts it right here, black and white, what we are going to be looking towards, man. If you're planning a wedding on U.S. soil in the next couple of years, probably best to assign one of your guests to keep an eye on the sky to ensure there is no drones flying overhead to bomb the wedding party, right? And that's ultimately talking about, because pretty soon, man, they're going to be hunting for us prophets, man. They're going to be hunting and looking for those people who are out there causing people not to follow the New World Order, right? And like it tells you in the scripture, man, that I just read, that we're, blessed are you for when people persecute you. This is 1 Peter 3:14. But, and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled, but sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. Right? Because you see, ultimately what's going to happen, man, is you will be persecuted. And that could be many things, man, from you simply losing your job to you having to be taken to these FEMA holding camps, man. Unfortunately, some brothers are going to have to pass away and be put to death for this truth, but, Lord willing, those who can't handle it won't have to go through it, right? But the point is that, you could see Esau, these Edomites, the so-called Caucasian race, they're starting to ramp up their agenda. Now, let's go and read the details of this. It says, Robert Greener, who served as a CIA station chief in Pakistan. And by the way, man, this guy, Robert Greener, this guy's a damn devil. He's an Edomite, right? The Edomites are the devils that the Bible speaks of, man. And the CIA is nothing more than the freaking muscle or the hitman for the world globalists, man. The CIA is in tune with the Mossad, the MI6, all these clandestine organizations around the world all work together for the globalists, right? and they're all working to get this one world order to come together. So this guy here, even though they say he's a former CIA agent, there are no such thing as former CIAs, man. Once you're in, right? You just move to a different sector. And this case, this guy's making the rounds on the news media, man, putting out that poison. But continuing, he says, Robert Greener, who served as a CIA station chief for Pakistan and Afghanistan in 2001, wants the U.S. government to use war tactics like those used in Afghanistan and Iraq against domestic extremists like those who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6. Of course, these same experts see nothing wrong with Black Lives Matter destroying $2 billion worth of property and thousands of livelihoods back in 2020. And the reason why that is, by the way, is just because Black Lives Matters and Antifa, those are set up organizations that are meant to drive America into a civil war, right? It's been revealed throughout numerous writings of these globalist elites that they were going to set up counter insurgencies and counterinsurgencies to basically rouse the people up into a frenzy so that way they could bring in their agenda. And that's exactly what Black Lives Matters and Antifa are. Continuing, Black Lives Matter Antifa mobs have caused over $1 billion in damages in cities across America since May. In Minneapolis alone, Black Lives Matter mobs demanded or destroyed over 1,500 businesses or buildings. Over 700 police officers were injured by the BLM riots, and that was back in June. And this guy here, Freedom Faction, he's ultimately he's a Republican, man, and he's part of the whole, not Proud Boys, but you know, the MAGA group, man. He's one of these patriot MAGA people, man. So that's why he's trying to point the fingers at Antifa and BLM, when the truth is, man, is all these freaking groups, man, are all to blame. Proud Boys, MAGA, BLM, Antifa, they're all a bunch of idiots that are being led by the winds that these devils at the top are setting up, right? And they're falling right for the trap. And because they're falling for the trap, they're going to ultimately, get those laws that are going to get passed to which will eventually be used against the true prophets of the Lord. Continuing, when it comes to domestic extremists such as those who stormed the Capitol, a long-term CIA officer argues that the U.S. should treat them as an insurgency. Salaki Akim for reading over the same damn thing and stuff. These people would basically just copy and paste their content. It says that means using counterinsurgency tactics similar in some ways to those used in the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. So get ready to start seeing those Humvees and lightly armored military vehicles on your street, Akim. This is what's coming, man. Robert Grenier, he went on to become the CIA's Iraq missions manager and then director of the CIA Counterterrorism Center 2004-2006. We may be witnessing the dawn of a sustained wave of violent insurgencies within our own country, perpetuated by our own countrymen, Grenier wrote in the New York Times, which, by the way, is a fucking it's a propaganda rag, right? It's no longer a prestigious news outlet. It's being used now just for freaking propaganda. The New York Times last week, and without national action, he argues, extremists who seek social apocalypse are capable of producing endemic political violence of a sort not seen in this country since Reconstruction, basically the original Civil War, right? And then so that shows you, Akim, that where we are, man. If you're out here, trying to get diamonds implanted on your face, fucking worrying about that how many face tattoos you got, man, it's over for you, man. You're fucking through, all right? And the thing is I know many of you Akim out there, this doesn't pertain to you, but this is just to give you an idea, man, because we all have those friends. We all have those family members who are still stuck on stupid, thinking that things are going to go back to normal at this point, not seeing all these things that's going on. It now, like the Bible tells you, man, worry not how the ungodly shall be punished, but instead worry how the righteous shall be saved, right? And that meaning, strive for the truth. Make it within the righteous, man. You know, it's time to now watch out for you and your loved ones, those of your immediate family, okay? Don't worry if your pops or your mom, your brothers, sisters can't get it. Too bad, too sad, man. You know, the Lord didn't want them, and that's why He isn't waking them up. You know, you're gonna have to, you know, keep moving, right? This 2 Timothy 3:12. Yea, and all that will live godly in the Messiah, YAHAWASHI, shall suffer persecution. Right? But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Right? And you see, so there you go. Right? Us, believers of the true Messiah, YAHAWASHI, and believers of the truth of the Bible, we will face some form of persecution one way or the other. Be it, like I said, you're going to lose a woman, you're going to lose friends, you're going to lose family, you're going to lose a job, you're going to lose, you know, your freedom, you're going to lose money. Some sort of persecution is going to come to all of us, okay? But when it comes, just be prepared, man. Understand that nothing in this world is permanent, man. Everything here is temporary. Okay, this is simply the waiting room for the true world to come, man. The heaven on earth where we are in rulership with the Lord and we're on top. Now, what's happening now is that the Lord is now separating the men from the boys, and the true Hebrew Israelites from those who have, you know, shunned that away, right? And from the good and the evil, basically, right? So it's now time for Joachim to start, you know, getting things into high gear, right? This is Romans 10:9, that if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord YAHAWASHI, and shalt believe in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. All right, because this is ultimately what it comes down to, man. We have to understand that the salvation for the Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Indian, only comes when you believe in the Messiah. Okay, so all those Old Testament, black-only Israelites, forget it, man. It's no longer worth talking to them, man. If they're still stuck on stupid, they're still stuck on that Old Testament only bullshit, following, you know, speaking Yiddish, forget it, man. You know, just tell them have a nice day and move on, right? Because now it's important that we need to start focusing on the truth, your salvation, and ultimately, you know, staying in on the righteous path. So I just wanted to touch upon this, Akim. So till the next time, I want to give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.